Welcome to the PhoneArena.com review of the BlackBerry Curve 8330. The 8330 is the CDMA variant of the original Curve, the GSM 8300. There are some notable upgrades in the CDMA version, such as integrated GPS, a bump in memory up to 96 megabytes, and most importantly, high-speed data via the EVDO Revision 0 networks. Today we are looking at the two different curves offered by the major US carriers, Verizon on the left and Sprint on the right. As you can see, the design of the two devices are very similar. However, the housing colors are different. The Verizon has a bright silver, whereas the Sprint's curve is a darker, more refined titanium. Accents are the same. Both of them have a rubbery ring that lines the phone. On the back you can see the mirrored chrome surface that acts as the camera housing. The camera for the Curve is a 2 megapixel camera with an LED flash. The front of the phone features a QVGA display, trackball navigation, and a full QWERTY keypad. One oddity we did notice is that the Verizon screen is just a bit brighter than the Sprint screen. Here we're looking at the proprietary home screens, where Verizon is white and Sprint is black, but when you have the same theme, you can tell a slight difference in the two. We have to say that we really like the Sprint design better. The darker surface makes the phone look a lot more professional, whereas the bright silver reminds us of the early days of cell phones, especially with the strong contrasting black keypad and accents. As you look around the phone, you'll find a 3.5mm headset jack at the top left. This is nice and allows users to use real music headphones. One of the big features of the Curve is the multimedia functions, and music playback is a big part of that. Below that is a standard micro USB port, which serves as both the data and charging port. There's also a micro multi-function button on the left side, as well as one on the right side. At the top of the right side is a volume rocker. Both of the multi-function buttons are user assignable, which means that the user can assign just about any application to them. We like a lot of the customization options on the BlackBerry OS, and that's just one of them. Our biggest complaint about the design of the 8330 is the micro SD placement, which is underneath the battery. As you can see at the back of the phone, there's gold and silver metal pieces down at the bottom. The gold pieces actually serve as connectors for the optional desktop charger. Pressing the metal button releases the back door and it easily slides off. Getting the battery out, however, is not quite as easy. You have to actually get your thumb under the top of the battery and push down towards the bottom of the phone to pry it out. Only then do you see the micro SD slot. You have to slide the little metal retainer and the card will pop up, and that way you can slide it in and out. Again, push it down and slide the retainer to the right, and the card's back in. The card can be accessed via mass storage mode on the Sprint Curve, but it's not something that's extremely functional, and we wish they had moved the slot to the side like found on the Pearl. BlackBerry devices are, first and foremost, renowned for their email and messaging capabilities, and the Curve is no different. The full QWERTY keyboard is simply the best that we've ever used. It's just almost the perfect size. It is a touch narrow for bigger hands, but there's a fine line that RIM has to toe between the width of the device and the size of the keyboard. We feel they've done a good job juggling the two, and the keyboard is very easy to use. The buttons have plenty of play, so you know that they've been pushed. The keypad is slightly curved, as you can see, and the buttons themselves have a little bit of topographical feel to them, so you know which buttons you're pushing. The Curve keyboard is definitely a standout part of the device. The trackball navigation, however, is still something we're not a big fan of. As you can see when the main menu pulls up here, we can only move left and right and up and down. There is no side-to-side movement. Furthermore, there is no wraparound, So when you get to the end of a menu line, you cannot go to the next line. You have to scroll over and then scroll down. In the browser, you are able to move 360, so the trackball is a little bit better. But overall, we really don't like this trackball navigation. One of the things we like about RIM's operating system is the customization. Here we're taking a look at the preloaded Verizon theme. This theme chooses to have 5 shortcuts orientated along the bottom of the screen. You can scroll the trackball and choose your option. Bring up the main application menu, you have access to all the applications on the device. But let's say we want our browser to be in shortcuts. All we do is simply find the browser, choose Move from the Contacts menu, and move the browser anywhere in the top 5. Going back to our home screen, we'll now see that the browser has been added there and the calendar has moved out. This is a very handy feature and allows the users to put their most used shortcuts directly on the front screen. We should note that this is theme specific, however, and if we change themes, the top 5 will be reordered to whatever corresponds to that theme. Changing back to this theme and our top 5 will be intact though. Now we'll take a look at the Sprint home screen, which is slightly different. As you can see, they've gone with a sides theme. However, the same principle applies, and we can reorder it to put whatever we want in that top 5. The address book is another essential feature of the phone. We have a couple people loaded in here, and as you can see, once we type a letter, such as J, it'll eliminate anybody that doesn't match that. That'll also work for last names, so if we type N, it'll only come up with Samir here. The obvious focus of any of RIM's devices is messaging. There is a unified messaging inbox, which will show incoming emails, text messages, and events such as missed calls. In addition, any configured email account will have their own mailbox as well. Composing a message is simple. From the message inbox, you can hit the Contacts menu and choose to compose an email, PIN, text message, or with the Verizon Curve, an SMS message. Let's say we want to compose an email. Right now we don't have any accounts configured, but if we had 2 or 3 different accounts, we could choose what account we want to send it from. From there you can simply start typing in the name. So we type J, and it brought up all our J's. Let's say we want to send this to John. You can add multiple recipients and carbon copy it as well, and then you simply type your email. It's that simple. We love how easy the messaging is on the BlackBerry Curve. Another essential element to any smartphone is the calendar and other personal information management features. The Curve is no slouch here, and the calendar is very simple and powerful. Going in, you get the day view, but you also have the option to view by week or month. Adding an appointment is as simple as choosing new. You can type in a subject, add a location. You can choose to make it an all-day event, change the date and the duration. You can even choose time zones if you're traveling. You can set a reminder. You can also set your time as different options, such as busy or out of the office or tentative. Recurrences can be set for appointments, and you can do it daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. Lastly, you can also mark them as private and add notes so that you remember what your appointments are. Other things we can do with the Curve is a task list. As you see, we have a couple here. Let's go in and check our sync. Let's say we finish this off. We can change our status to completed. As you see, we set this to higher priority. We created the due date of last week. If we wanted to, we could have set ourselves a reminder or recurrence for this. We also set ourselves a note to make sure that we have the required materials. Since we made a change, once we go back, it'll prompt us to save the change or discard. We'll save, and now you can see that that task has been checked off. The more basic application is the memo pad. This basically acts just as a notepad. There's no real options here. It just gives you the list, and you click on them and you can add text. It's as simple as it gets, but it is effective. The voice notes recorder is basically a voice version of the memo pad. You simply record your note, and then once you stop, you have the option to pause it or keep going. We stop it, and we can see that our different voice notes are stored.